Hello, my digital darlings. I have returned, more fabulous than ever, and with me, an ever more fabulous deck profile. Cendrillmon, one of the first Liberated decks introduced to us, is one of the best yellow decks I've ever played. With the ability to rush down your opponent with several level 3s and familiar tokens, as well as inflicting massive amounts of DP reduction effects. This deck has the potential to dance with the best of them. So without further ado, let me show you how to take Cendrillmon to a ballroom blitz at your local tournament scene. Alright, digital tamers and Digimon lovers alike, thank you so much for tuning in once more to another deck profile by yours truly. Today we will be covering my personal Cendrillmon list. Now this is a deck that I have been having incredible amounts of fun with at locals as well as other major tournaments. Cendrillmon is in fact just a base yellow color deck. Nothing too incredibly special about it. It is one of the Liberator decks that was first introduced to us a couple months back. Initially, when it first released, Cendrillmon was seen as the stronger deck between Zafagomon, just straight out of box. However, over the course of time, Zafagomon has definitely seen a bit more love from Bandai at the moment with a variety of support cards, including and not limited to the new medieval Gallantmon. So hopefully Cendrillmon later down the road will also get some really cool support and maybe, hopefully, a new Cendrillmon Ace. But in the meantime, this is the list that you guys can too also give a try and hopefully enjoy and get some really, really positive results. So, starting off, it's going to be our Digitama. 4 of the BT18 Wanyamon. Now, this Wanyamon is really cool. It has a once per turn when attacking. If you have a yellow tamer, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn. Now, generally, my deck focuses more on trying to control the board, in a sense, with a constant DP reduction and being able to remove pesky bodies on my opponent's side that way. The 2000 this just outright counters floodgates. Typically, one of the biggest floodgates that can counter Cendrillmon are the ones that disallow players from playing Digimon via effects. And you all know that this deck loves to play their level 3s and several familiar token Digimon. So if we end up running across a floodgate that prevents us from doing that, that really hinders our overall game plan. So the Wanyamon, I see a bit more value over the other eggs that allow drawing, rather. So definitely give this a try, experiment with it. If you guys aren't really too worried about DP reduction, then by all means, you guys could probably swap out for the, I believe it was either the Upamon or the other Wanya that does draw. Alright, and for our rookies, we're going to first start out with one copy of Junkmon. Rookie ratio, you can definitely play around with. However, I would at least run a minimum 13, nothing below that, because again, this deck really likes to focus and really heavily play level 3s via different card effects from Digivolution or even just option cards, things like that. But one copy of Junkmon, it's pretty good. The decoy does come in handy sometimes, and the inheritable for barrier does help as well, especially in scenarios where you end up quite possibly losing your Chaperone level 5 inheritable protection via like De-Digivolve or stripping. Barrier is here to help in case your opponent decides to attack into your stack and you just want to make sure it stays there. You can barrier just by trashing the top card of your security card and making sure it survives that battle. So one check of Junkmon is pretty good, as well as decoy being another alternative to protecting your other stacks. One copy of the starter deck 19 Pawn Chessmon. Now I opted to go with the blocker variant rather than the on-play variant, simply because it's a blocker. Helps prevent any unnecessary damage. And granted, level 3s are pretty easy to deal with nowadays on the current level of meta. Like so many different effects that just constantly target and delete any Digimon with the lower DP threshold and just lower level threshold. So, but regardless, blocks still come in handy. On deletion, you get to trash a Puppet Trait Digimon from your hand in order to draw 2, so this is a great way to just cycle through your deck and get the pieces that you need in hand in order to start making that Cendrillmon line. I still run 2 copies of the promo Shumon. This card is fantastic in the sense that on play, it does inflict -1 security check on one of your opponent's Digimon until the end of their turn. Reason why this is such a good card and such an important vital piece to my overall game plan, it stalls. It hard stops certain turns for your opponent, as well as potentially saving you a couple of turns from kill or lethal turns for your opponent. So just being able to just get this out on play via other effects really does help. In certain situations, I can't count the number of times the Shumon has definitely saved me a turn in order to give me that one chance to make a comeback and ultimately turn the game around. So 2 copies is pretty good. Again, as I said beforehand, ratios you could definitely play around with. You could play 3, you could even go 4 if you want, but I'm quite comfortable with just 2. 4 copies of the EX7 Shumon. This is definitely going to be one of your headliner rookies you want to play 4 of. It has an amazing your turns effect where when you would Digivolve into a Puppet Trait Digimon, you get to reduce the evolution cost by 1. So you could go into your level 4 Shumon for just the 1 cost. You know, it's all about memory efficiency because, again, this is a deck that focuses on creating a line, a stack, essentially. So every little bit of resource counts. Because once you hit your level 5s, that's when it starts to get expensive, unless you're using physical trainings or any of your scrambles to reduce that evolution. So this is nice to have at 4. It has a great inheritable of all your opponent's security Digimon getting -3,000 during your turn. That adds up. It ensures that you can potentially safely attack your opponent's security Digimon without any risk of losing battles. Yeah, I also forgot to mention the inheritable on the promo Shumon, where when attacking one of your opponent's Digimon gets -2,000 DP for the turn. Same as the Wanya egg, just you get to add more DP reduction. Pretty great. 4 copies of the Starter Deck 19 Shumon. Absolute must, 4 copies. You have to run 4 copies of this. This is your main searcher. Main avenue of getting pieces and digging out vital cards for your stack in order to get into your Cendrillmon. On play, allows you to search the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Liberator trait, and 1 Puppet trait out of those 3 cards and add it to your hand. That's practically 90% of your deck. Like, even the Tamer, your Arisa Tamer is a Liberator. You can grab that on reveal. Most of your Shumon line, every card, this should never miss. This card essentially never misses. What I potentially consider a miss is if you can only grab 1 card. So say you reveal, like, 2 Orisas and an option card. Well, unfortunately, you can only grab the 1 card because both those Orisas are only Liberator trait. So, but anyway, main search, great card, 4 copies, no questions. You have to run 4 copies. You'd be an absolute insane person if you did not run it at 4. And lastly, 1 copy of Tamermon from EX8. Completely optional. I just chose to go the route of playing at least the Floodgate for my deck in order to counter certain matchups. We're constantly in a meta that's constantly growing, and so many decks are constantly getting new cards and support to where they are allowed to just constantly gain memory and cheat the overall memory game system. So, Tamermon, we finally got a Floodgate in yellow where it prevents your opponent from gaining memory outside of Tamer effects. So Tamermon is here to kind of help settle the playing field by allowing us that chance to hopefully stop our opponent from gaining unnecessary memory outside of the Tamer's effects and basically potentially taking like really efficient turns to do their combo. So, but again, it's a Floodgate. It's not too hard to deal with for your opponent. But, you know, setting it up early game, you know, what are they going to do, right? They have no choice but to have to deal with it. So I like using the 1 Tamermon. You're more than welcome to swap it out for another additional Shumon somewhere. But that is the ratio for rookies. We have 13. All right, going into our champions, as soon as I could grab all of them. Just like our Shumon promo, excuse me, I still like running the 1 copy of the Shumon promo. Reason being, again, another great way to kind of stall your opponent out, stop them from potentially taking their lethal turns, saves you a turn, and gives you a chance to possibly make a comeback. 5 cost drop, 2 to evolve, 1 Digivolving effect until the end of your opponent's turn. One of their Digimon cannot attack a Digimon and gain security +1. Now that one right there is huge. Cannot attack Digimon. So this hard stops raid as well. This stops several Digimon that just outright has the ability to attack a Digimon. So Shushumon's here to say no. Stop it. Shame on you. So imagine evolving this on top of the promo Shumon. You essentially gave someone -2 security checks, and now it can't attack Digimon as well. So okay, cool. They're gonna be okay. I can't attack Digimon. I might as well try to swing into security. Well, you're -2 security. What are you gonna do outside of just triggering some when attacking effects? Sure, whatever. Regardless, they're not getting any security checks that turn. Absolutely not. So 1 copy is fine. Again, same thing with the inheritable when attacking. You get the -2000 something. So just that stack alone with the Wanya, the promo Shumon, and then this Shumon, you have a potential of just -6K'ing something outright. In combination with the Cendrillmon, if it was a Cendrillmon stack and it has those 3 cards, that's just the free 12,000 DP on just one single swing. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And then during your turn, while you have a Arisa Kinasaki, this Digimon gains jamming. Now, that part doesn't really come out too much, because why swing with the level 4 when your main focus is to try to get into that level 6 Cendrillmon and then start swinging? I mean, granted, sure, you might do it every now and then, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. The your turn where you get jamming, it's not that important. What's really important about this card and its uses is for just the minus security, can't attack Digimon, and the inheritable to -2. That's really all you need. Again, completely optional. I've seen some lists where they don't like running this. They prefer more ratio value out of the security bomb Shushumons, but I still like this at 1 copy. I still try to give myself a reason to play this. And again, I've seen this card save me so many times, so I'm going to keep it. If it ain't broke, why fix it? 2 copies of EX7 Shushumon. Great card. 4 cost only, 2 to evolve. When Digivolving, if you have 1 or fewer Tamer, you may play 1 Arisa Kinasaki from your hand without paying the cost. So this is your main avenue to try to set up your Arisa Kinasaki Tamers early in the game. Tamer setup is very crucial for this deck and its overall game plan. The Arisas are what help facilitate majority of your turns as well as plays. There's several Arisas you could choose from. We will definitely get into that once we get to that section of the deck list. However, yeah, 2 copies is enough. I felt like, previously, before we got more cards to essentially play around with, I had these at 3 copies, but 2 is enough. I see it quite often enough, even just at 2 copies, and even then, like I want to say maybe 70% of the game, 70% of the time, I'm already just hard playing Arisas. So by the time this even comes up in some games, its value is pretty much lost outside of its own inheritable. So just having 2 is fine. If you see it early game, fantastic. You get to start evolving and getting your Arisas out for free. If not, oh well, it's just there. It's just a level 4 for you to use. So, like I said, that's why I only have it at 2. Quite honestly, I want to cut it down to 1, but I'm not entirely sure if that's gonna work out. So I just kept it at the 2. But yeah, just 2 copies of the EX7 Shushumon help get you your Tamers out. Hopefully, get your game plan rolling. 3 copies of the new promo Shushumon you get out of the Wave 1 2025 tournament pack. This is relatively easy card to get your hands on, so long as you have a local Digimon card game scene at your local game store and they support tournament. You should be able to get your hands on some of these. But a very strong card. This is a phenomenal promo, and I'm glad we have it. Play cost of 4, 2 to evolve. Has a security effect at the end of the battle. You get to play this card without paying the cost. Has an on-play and when Digivolving effect to play out a familiar token. This little guy. Familiar token, very similar to the one Cendrillmon will play out. On deletion, you get the -3000 DP, one of your opponent's Digimon for the turn. Has 0 play cost, has no level, so protected from most deletion effects that target play cost or level-based deletion. Only has 3000 DP on the familiar. However, only difference between the familiar that Cendrillmon spits out is that the one produced by this promo Shushumon, the familiar will self-delete at the end of your opponent's next turn. So, if this Shushumon is ever triggered during your opponent's turn from a security check, that familiar will ultimately just die that end of turn, that same turn. But hey, it's a great way to potentially pop a pesky level 3, or any Digimon with just 3k left. Hey, gets rid of Ukomons. It gets rid of Ukomon, so great card. Has an amazing inheritable of barrier. So this is another second way avenue to gain access to barrier on your stack. So it's pretty strong if you combine this with a Junkmon in your stack. It's like, cool. Oh, you Digivolved me? Oh, you stripped my Shushumon away? Are you gonna attack the stack? Oh, guess what? I still got Barrier. Get out of here. So 3 copies. Honestly, you can run 4 if you want. Again, ratios are very, very flexible with this deck at the current moment. So yeah, play around with it. See what works best for you, and hopefully you guys can settle on a ratio that you are loving and comfortable with. And our final 3 are going to be the starter deck 19 Shushumon. So originally, I actually did not play this. I actually played more copies of the promo Shushumon and more of the EX7 Shushu and more of the promo Shushu. Essentially one each of card. But however, our good buddy in our local scene and friend of the channel, Michael, actually recommended reconsidering and opting to use this Shushumon again. Reason being is because of the introduction of the promo Shushumon. So, this Shushumon has a same thing, has a security effect, but it's a little different. When triggered in security, you may play 1 card with the Liberator trait, and with the play cost of 4 or less from your hand or trash without paying the cost. This Shushumon promo is a 4 cost. That's actually really, really strong. If you can combo out a promo Shushumon with this Shushumon when it gets hit in security, that's really, really good. Because not only now do you get to get this played out from your hand or trash, you get to get out a familiar token. It just helps facilitate swarming, right? It's really, really cool. So I never considered that, the fact that you could play this Shushumon off of this Shushumon. So I've been kind of playing around with it, experimenting with it, and I have to say, it's pretty good. It is pretty good, so I would consider running the starter deck Shushumon as well. But again, if you don't like it as much, if you do not like this, absolutely feel free to swap these out for the other Shushumon level 4s. You do not have to go that route. Has access to overclock, but why would you overclock with this? Unless you're in lethal turn, you're guaranteed win with the next check. So wouldn't worry too much about the overclocking with this Shushumon unless you're about to win the game. Has an inheritable all turns once per turn, or excuse me, just all turns in general. Your opponent's security is minus 3,000. And that is our... Where'd my level 4s go? Oh, there they are. That's our level 4 lineup. We run 10. 9. I can count. Hold on. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. 9 level 4s. I'm a big boy, chat. Alright, our level 5s. Running 4 copies of starter deck 19 Chaperomon. This card is so good. It's just built-in Noble Family Arts. Like it's like a smaller Noble Family Arts. So on Digivolve or on play, you get to minus 3,000 DP one of your opponent's Digimon. However, if there are a total of 3 or more Digimon on the board in general, in combination with you and your opponent, you get to reduce it by another further 3,000. So you could potentially hit something for 6k. Has an inheritable effect all turns once per turn when this Digimon would leave the battle area. Other than by your effects, by deleting one of your tokens or other puppet trait Digimon, it does not leave. So, really good card, really great value. It gives you protection and helps you control board state with DP reduction effects. So 4 copies is an absolute must. Only 3 copies of the EX7 Chaperomon. A reason for this, I have another level 5 ultimate that I like to run the card in this deck, and I'm trying to keep it at a ratio of 8. And I find more value in the starter deck Chapero over this Chapero. I find DP reduction being much more sought after and highly more viable in the current meta play. But anyway, Chaperomon, EX7. Has a when Digivolving effect to play out a level 3 card with the puppet trait from your hand without paying the cost. Again, a great way to start building your board back up, getting those puppet trait Digimon out on the field, and basically have them out there for potentially deleting to trigger your protection effects or your overclock at the end of the turn. Speaking of overclock, this Chapero does have overclock as well, so if you choose to overclock, Chaperomon does have that ability to do so. Also has the same inheritable protection as the starter deck Chapero. You get to just... delete a token or a puppet trait Digimon in order to protect your stack. And our final ultimate, it will be the 1 copy of the EX5 Edamon. A lot of people forget this funky monkey is a puppet, so fits very well with this deck. Finds it's right at home. Has the very annoying effect on play when Digivolving. Until the end of your opponent's turn, one of their Digimon gains minus 3,000 DP, and start of your main phase, this Digimon attacks. Facilitates ace counter. That's just all that's here for. It forces your opponent to attack at the start of their turn so you can ace them. Haha, funny. I know. Opponent's turn, once per turn. When an opponent's Digimon attacks, you may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play 1 black or yellow Digimon card with a play cost of 3 or less among them without paying the cost. You trash the rest. Now, funny enough, this inheritable rarely comes up. I mean, aside from the obvious reason I only run this in 1 copy, you're barely going to see it. But when it happens, it's pretty funny. It's pretty good because it does potentially feed your trash with potential puppet Digimon with a play cost of 4 or less. And it kind of sets up for the Shushumon to come in if it ever gets triggered in security. And it's like, oh, cool. I have something I can play out of trash. So, yeah, it happened a few times. And it's really great when it happens because, again, it just helps speed up your combos. But yeah, 1 copy of Edamon. I love it. I love this funky monkey. Honestly, I used to have it at 2 copies, but even at 2 copies, it comes up as often as it does at 1 copy. So 1 copy I'm very comfortable with. So that's a total of only 8 level 5s in the deck. All right, level 6s. We're running 2 copies of Shadow Seraphimon Ace. Yep, there's the one. That's the one that you want to play. This card is incredibly strong. And even though it's not a puppet trait, it gives you plenty enough reason to play because it is yellow and you can. But reason why you want to play Shadow Seraphimon Ace in this deck is because Cendrillmon doesn't particularly have too many outs against a variety of matchups in the current meta. Again, like I said, Cendrillmon and most of the Liberator decks currently introduced, they're like solid tier 2 decks, let's be honest. They're fun to play. They absolutely have the ability to get wins, but not at a very consistent rate. So we're going to use whatever tools we can get our hands on in order to increase those odds. Shadow Seraphimon Ace has an amazing ability on play when Digivolving. You De-Digivolve 3 one of your opponent's Digimon. So this gets you out of some potentially scary situations. If your opponent has a very big, scary level 6, level 7 stack, and they swing, and you have the ability and potential to ace into this, do it. You do it. You better do it so hard. Get rid of that stack, and then has a blocker keyword, and all turns once per turn. When an attack target changes, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP for the turn. So your opponent potentially will already be swinging with a stack that's already inflicted with minus 3. You De-Digivolve it. There's a potential, once you De-Digivolve it down by up to 3, and it's a level 4 or level 3 by then, it's a guaranteed kill. You've basically got rid of your problem that turn. So, again, not much more explaining needed. This card is strong. You guys know it's strong. I would run 2 copies. And of course, for our final line of level 6s in the deck, you love it. It's the queen herself. The baddest bitch in Digimon card game, Cendrillmon. 4 copies. Absolutely 4 copies is a must. If you want to do a 3-3 split ratio between this and Shadow Seraphi, be my guest, but I'm comfortable at playing a 4-2 split ratio. This is your main level 6 and your main stack that you want to build up as soon as possible. Cendrillmon is a 12,000 DP, 12 cost level 6 with the 4 cost evolution on a yellow level 5. Has the Overclock puppet trait keyword, so allows you to attack your opponent's security without having to suspend as long as you delete a puppet trait or a familiar token. Start of your main phase, or when Digivolving, you may play 1 familiar token. That's a you may, and I admit I have been guilty of missing that trigger. So it's very important to always keep in mind, as soon as your main phase starts, play your familiar token, please. I've been trying to do better about it, but since it is a you may, you could potentially miss that timing if you pass during your main phase by playing another card before that. So try not to miss that timing. Again, it's a familiar token. Yellow, 3,000 DP attack. No play cost, no level. It is, and on deletion, you get the minus 3,000 DP, one of your opponent's Digimon. And has a when attacking ability to minus 6,000 DP, one of your opponent's Digimon. And also keep in mind, that is not a once per turn. You could trigger that as many times as you want, as long as you're attacking. Very strong card. So, potential combo. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if you just have a stack started alone with the Wanya, the Promo Shu, the Promo Shushumon, that right there already that first initial attack with the Cendrillmon already gives 12,000 DP to someone. And then on top of the Overclock, that's another 6k. So that stack alone, you could minus 18,000 DP one of your opponent's Digimon. That's most stacks. without even buffs, right? So it's a great way to answer your opponent's board and get rid of any Digimon and any potential threat that you are facing with just that stack alone. And not only that, even though Cendrillmon is only a 12k DP Digimon, and you could easily lose that stack by attacking into your opponent's security and swinging into something big, don't worry. You will absolutely have access to inheritables that also reduces your opponent's security Digimon. So you can confidently swing into your opponent's security even with just 12,000 DP, because more than likely you will have other separate stacks, or heck, you might even have the inheritable under your Cendrillmon stack where it reduces your opponent's Digimon in security by 3k. Even just that one amount of 3k DP reduction will increase your odds of surviving substantially. And our final Digimon, we do run the one copy of the Shine Gray Burst Mode Ace from BT18. Still a great counter. Still a great card. Its only value is just being able to reduce something down to 0 DP, potentially, depending on how many Tamers you have in play. Let you play your Arisa, so hey, that's just another Arisa on board. And then honestly, it's if you need to take out massive amounts of security cards out of your opponent's stack, hey, this has the potential of hitting 3 all at once. I mean, not much more you could say about this. It's a big monster. It's a big counter card. It's very strong. I mean, play one copy. You don't have to, but why not, right? Okay, getting into our Tamers. We're gonna, of course, play 2 copies of the Starter Deck 19 Arisa Kinosaki, because it's a memory setter. Memory setting is very important. And again, evolutions can be pretty expensive without the help of physical trainings and yellow scrambles. So having at least your memory set at 3 guarantees you to be able to get into your level 5 line, so long as you had something ready and raising, and then just you can pass turn with the Cendrillmon and overclock. Your turn. Also, when an effect plays one of your tokens or puppet trait Digimon by suspending the Tamer, one of those Digimon gains Rush for the turn. So this is a great way to facilitate more aggressive plays. Again, like I said, this deck plays heavily on relying on playing Digimon by effects. So Cendrillmon spits out a familiar token, give it Rush. You Wonder Stomp, you play a level 3 out of your hand, give it Rush. Shushumon triggers insecurity, give it Rush. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. You can do that. It's playing it by effect, right? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but those are just fastball examples I was just throwing out. 2 copies of the EX7 Arisa Kinosaki, 3 costs to play. Start of your main phase. If your opponent has a Digimon, you gain 1 memory. So this is nice. Nice in tandem with the memory setter Arisa. Potentially start your turn with 4, 5 memory. I call these buffers because it only triggers if your opponent has a Digimon. Your alterns. When any of your token or puppet trait Digimon are deleted by suspending this Tamer, you may play 1 level 3 Digimon card with the puppet trait from your hand without paying the cost. Again, this is a great way to just constantly have board presence. It allows you to constantly replace any potential Digimon that gets, deleted on your board with a new one from your hand. And again, see, this just facilitates and supports playing by effect. So 2 copies is good. That's all you really need, because we need space for 2 of the promo Arisa Kinosakis. I don't care what anyone says. This card is still good. This card is cracked, chat. I don't know why people don't like this card anymore. People are like, oh no, you play more of the Starter Deck Arisa and play more of the EX7 Arisas. Okay, I mean, that's fine, but realistically, this has so much value. This plays you free Shumons. You could just hard drop this turn 1, get a Searcher Shumon. You could hard drop this turn 2, play the promo Shumon, give something -1, yeah, stop your opponent's Ukumon from Ukumon shenanigans. I don't know, but not only that, it's just continued value from this card, because every time you Digivolve into a puppet trait Digimon, you get to suspend this and you gain 1 memory back. It's great. And come on, let me ask you, real talk, chat room. You're not gonna need more than 6 Tamers in this deck. I mean, 6 is already kind of pushing it, I feel. 6 is the maximum, for sure. But as far as ratios and splits go, it's like having 3 here and 3 here. It's like, realistically, you're not gonna really play more than 3 bodies via effect, right? In a given turn, you're not really gonna do that much. At the most, you're playing like maybe 2 bodies via effect. So it's like, you're not going to need more than 2 starter deck Orisa. Realistically, you're not gonna really trigger this more than 2 times in a given turn, right? It's all about perspective. You know, it's just, I just found it, like I said, I used to do the 3 and 3. I used to do 3 and 3 here. But it's like, realistically, within a game, are you really going to have all 3 of those out? No, right? I mean, granted, yeah, you'll probably see the Tamers more often, but it's like, when I used to run 3 copies of each of these respective Orisas, dude, it's like, there have been so many times where I'm just sitting on these copies in my hand, because by the time I even get to a point in the game, it's like, I don't need to play any more of these. There's no point. So just having 2 of each is the perfect magic number for me. And then you always want to have these played out, because you're just constantly getting resource back by simply just playing the game. So I see this as the perfect Orisa Kinosaki Tamer ratio. 2 of the promos, 2 of the EX7, 2 of the starters. At these ratios, you're guaranteed you're gonna see at least 1 of each within a game pretty early on, and be able to set these Tamers pretty early on. So give it a shot. Just give it a chance. Try this ratio out, see how it works for you, and if you don't like it, cut these Orisas down to 1, and maybe include another 3rd EX7 one, or 3rd starter deck one, or just cut these out completely and just go with the 3-3 split. But give this ratio a shot. I promise it'll work. It is very good. Okay, we're almost down to the last remaining few cards. For our options, we're running 3 physical physical copies of physical training. 3 copies of physical training. Another way to just search out cards out of your deck. Can search your yellow Tamers and your yellow Digimon. Then has the delay effect to reduce your next evolution by 2. Not a lot of explaining. You guys know what these trainings do. We've been playing these for months now. But great, you know, like I said, a very, very vital piece to running your deck, especially a Cendrillmon deck, because the deck really needs to get into that level 6 efficiently and without having to pass turn too early, because you don't want to sit on a dead stack for your opponent to just kill outright. 2 yellow scrambles. Honestly, I wish I had room for a 3rd, but realistically, I feel like you don't really need to run that many scrambles in any given deck. So I think 2 is the optimum number to play, so that's why I'm running 2. Helps reduce your evolution into your next yellow Digimon. Ideally, you want to use this for your level 5 and level 6. So you get to go into a Cendrillmon for just 1 cost, or your Chaparral for free. Has the start of your turn. If your opponent has a Digimon, you get to delay it and return 1 yellow Digimon card from the trash to the top of your deck. And then if you don't have a Digimon, you may play 1 yellow Digimon card with 2,000 DP or less from your trash without paying the cost. Great way to combo out and guarantee you get certain pieces in your hand. I love using this when I have a Cendrill in trash and potentially other pieces. Like, essentially, I lose a Cendrill stack. I love to delay it right then and then. Put the Cendrillmon back on top of your deck and play out the Searcher Shumon. That way I could get the Cendrillmon into my hand and another potential piece to start another whole stack or build on top of a pre-existing stack. So Scramble is still a very good card, a very strong card, in fact. Definitely play your 2 copies in the deck. 1 copy of Wyvern's Breath, because, again, outside of DP reducing with the Digimon and the Inheritables, sometimes you just can't get there, right? Sometimes you just can't get there, and sometimes you run into matchups where Digimon are not affected by Digimon effects. I'm looking at you, Grandis. I'm looking at you. Option to just kill something flat out with 15k or less is a great way to deal with those pesky threats. So 1 copy of Wyvern's Breath. I'd play 2 if I could, but I decided to save the very final card slot to 1 very funny card, and that's gonna be Lonky out of stock though. Lonky out of stock though. You don't have to worry about the top part. We're not playing Pulse One in this deck. It's just a yellow card. It's an 8 cost. If you have 3 or more security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 12,000 DP for the turn. If you have 3 or fewer security cards, place one of your opponent's Digimon face down on top of their security stack. A double threat. You have the potential of getting both triggers. You know, if you're sitting on the magic number 3 security cards left, you get both effects. So, shoot, for the cost of 8, you're getting 2 bodies out of the way. It's great value. And you know, we're now in a state of play with this card game where aces are a thing. I mean, shoot, you're just getting your value back. If you hit an ace, cool. I mean, you're potentially playing this only for 5 or 4 memory, right? If you hit 2 aces, cool. It could almost practically be free. So, Monkey out of stock though. Great card to use in the deck. All right, and that is the Cendrillmon profile. Short and sweet and to the point. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Really had fun with this deck, and I hope you guys will also have fun with this deck and show some positive positive results with the deck. So definitely let me know in the comments below if this deck list definitely helped y'all build a better Cendrillmon deck and yielded better results. Thank you so much, as always, for the support. If you guys want to see more deck profiles, more gameplay, and more tournament coverage, definitely hit that subscribe button. Hit me up with some likes on my videos, guys, and leave comments below. I'm always love interacting with y'all and just answering general questions, inquiries, and just, you know, and reacting to hot takes. But anyway, that's all from me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, as always. This is the High Score Chef signing off. I will see y'all in the next one. So until next time, you guys all be well. Be safe, and as always, be hungry for more. Bye-bye.